beautiful landscape here on Tenerife, together with the beautiful sporty SUV, the Audi RSQ8. Do you want to enjoy that here together with us on Autogefühl, your #1 resource for in-depth car reviews and your #1 community to discuss cars? Today with Thomas, and we're going to tell you all about exterior, interior, and of course the performance driving experience of this tops sports version of the Audi Q8. So please join us now in full HD, full screen and full length. Let's go. What the hell? So the front of the Audi RSQ8, really big frame around the grille, honeycomb structure on the inside, and then for this area here and also for the side mirrors, for example, side mirror caps, you can either get this one here, this dark design package from the night package, but there's also a carbon fiber style available or a gray aluminum style, so 3 different stylings you can actually get. The Audi RSQ8 has a specific front axle steering to make it a little bit more precise. AMG also does the same with the GLE 53, for example. Then those headlamps, quite slim, nice LED signature. They start with the main unit from LED, and optional you directly go to the matrix LED lights. And here in this case they also have a black background on the inside to make it a little bit more RS specific. And in this LED matrix trim you also have the cascading turning indicators here already in the front. That looks really amazing. And of course we did some night shots for you this time for the headlamp, for the matrix headlamp, so you can see the difference between the normal light and the high beam, front and back and so on. That was really impressive, short semi off-road drive. And also we tested it on the road when some cars are facing us, because the matrix LED high beam works in a way that when some cars are coming towards you, you can have the high beam activated, but then those cars are still not blinded by the light, because they save actually some LED spots that the car is not getting blinded, but you can still have some high beam and a little bit better visibility. So the visibility with nighttime driving is really exceptional with this car. About 5 meters, 16'4" or 197 inches is the length of the Audi Q8. The RSQ8 has some bigger spoilers, so it's just a little bit longer from the just spoiler length there. And you can see the design is not this typical SUV coupe design where we have a very round shape. It's, still has some angular shapes right there, but also strong shoulders. You have the wheel arches in the vehicle color, which is today here Daytona gray. 22-inch wheels would be standard for the RSQ8. Those ones are the option 23-inch, of course, really massive. 23-inch wheels. Then you also have optional carbon ceramic brakes, and air suspension. Adaptive air suspension is standard, and it varies in niveau. Actually 9 centimeters, about 3.5 inches, so 6 centimeters up for on off-road mode and 3 centimeters down when you're driving with higher speed or in the very sporty driving modes, for example. Then again, here those black mirror caps in our design package for today. Black frames also around the window. And technology-wise, what's interesting, we have a rear axle steering, which comes standard for the RSQ8, 5 degrees across, so different direction in the front wheels at lower speed, and about 1.5 degrees in the same direction at higher speeds to give some more stability. So at low speeds, smaller turning circle, more agility then, and on higher speeds then actually it's more stability when you're driving a little bit faster. So what you're thinking about design, and last but not least, the last two technology details which are optional: sports differential for the rear axle, optional, and also anti-tilt control, the anti-roll control that really keeps the car really upright. We'll see more about it in the driving part. A very modern styling here at the rear with this light strip that goes all around the vehicle. Beautiful LED signature here too. And in the lower part, the RSQ8 specific design elements here again with the black design, diffuser in the middle part, and those huge outer exhaust tips. The real, let's say, mechanical ones are on the inside, 2 each. If we take a look at that, if we call that fake exhaust, yeah, I think that's a matter of definition. Yeah, sound-wise, you already heard it in our preview. That was pretty interesting, definitely. So, what's your final verdict here on design? Is it too much, or is it right sporty enough for you? And also at the rear, we have those beautiful cascading turning indicators right there. So when you open and close the vehicle, but of course also when you use the real turning indicators. So in general, for the Q8, you have a 3-liter TDI, you have a 4-liter TDI for the SQ8, and then my favorite engine for that one would be the 3-liter TFSI, the turbo petrol engine, 340 horsepower. And today, the top sports version with the RSQ8 4-liter V8 engine, 600 horsepower, of course massive, 800 newton meters of torque, 3.8 seconds to 100 kilometers or 62 miles an hour, bi-turbo, MHEV and cylinder on demand. But I can already tell you right now, I doubt that it will help a lot with fuel economy. It's rather that it helps on paper for the fleet consumption for Audi. But of course, those ones here, or these ones, sorry, they are not really sold in high numbers, so they don't have such an effect on the fleet consumption. But yeah, we have to know this one here will consume a lot of fuel, no doubt. We try to find out later how much exactly. This is the car key. It's quite light and it's indeed premium here with the RS logo. And first a door closing sound, which is very solid even though there are no frames around the windows. And other possibility here, there is an option to have a soft close. Ah, magic. Also keyless entry, of course. Put your hand on the outside or on the inside then again to open it. Yeah, and there we go. And then you can see here, of course, frameless. That's always a little bit more emotional. And also good when getting in and out of the car in narrow parking lots. You can lower the window first and then later on put the windows higher again with the key. And then here on the inside with some Alcantara inserts. That's very nicely done. The door pockets are still reasonable. Bang & Olufsen sound system, optional 23 speakers with a great sound indeed. Then there's the RSQ8 entry badge, together with the RS steering wheel perforated, and also here with the RS badge in the lower end. I would recommend the Alcantara steering wheel, by the way. It has a better grip. And then the seats, they come standard as a sports seat with the separated head restraint and with Alcantara on the inside. That's also what we recommend, at least somewhat animal friendly and also sportier and cooler in summer and warmer in winter. Here, those ones are the optional RS sport seat with the integrated head restraint. They look cooler, but the base sport seats are more comfortable actually. Also here, this quilting, it looks great, but on long term, it's not that comfortable as the normal ones. So sometimes it's better to go for the, let's say, not that fancy looking version if you want the best comfort. However, those ones are still somewhat comfortable, yes, because we're talking of a high level of comfort. Just talking about how can you get an even higher level of comfort. Here in our seating position, very good still. 1.86 m or 6'1", still some headroom left, although this one here is the one with the panoramic roof. You can also get it without, depending on your like. Steering wheel up and down in an electric way. The only thing here with this vehicle is that although it is the RS version, so many things are still optional. That can get very expensive. Seats also electric here, up and down and so on, so a lot of different functions. And again, you can find a very good, comfortable seating position. You feel, let's say, somewhat like in a normal SUV, although this one is like a really high-end sports version. And that's also why I would recommend this one here if you compare like, with the Lamborghini Urus or something. You can still feel like you have an everyday suitable vehicle, Interior overview with the horizontal stress and wrapped tightly. This huge black area here, yeah, you can argue about piano lacquer, but what's cool, the Quattro logo and also some other parts are really nicely illuminated with the ambient lighting. I also have some night shots there for you, and you already saw them in the interior intro. That's really a very cool thing. Other than that, it's a very clean interior, all with the screens, 12.3, 10.1, 8.6 inch. So, and then they also interact somewhat together. We'll soon take a look at that. But mostly with touch, just this volume knob is still a real knob, but everything else is basically done with touch. Only at the steering wheel. On the left side you can control those digital instruments, soon more details to that. You can switch around the views and so on. And on the right side of the steering wheel you can control the volume and also the RS mode button. And there you can pick 2 different RS modes you can preset yourself. We'll also go into detail of that very soon. So what's your first impression here? Other than that, in the lower console you have the cup holders, opens like this, they are also adaptive. And then there's this armrest where you can lift it up and have some more USB supplies underneath. And inductive charging pad, because Apple CarPlay also works now wirelessly. Those virtual instruments are really fancy. You can also have the GPS view in there and zoom in and out. You can change the whole view if you want it a little bit bigger. So depending on your needs and what you like. And here the special RS view right there. Brum brum, brum brum. So, and then the RS mode when it's activated, you can also see it here, and it also changes a little bit of the whole system. Oh, here for example in the RS2 mode I've set this one. The head-up display is not too easy to catch on camera, but I think you get the picture with the speed, allowed speed, and also the special RPM meter here with the RS model and even some temperature dials. Well, you can also individualize that if you want to have some other information on there. Now to the screens, it's really fancy, especially the GPS when you have this satellite view, and here at Pico del Teide. So it's very beautiful here on Tenerife. So there it is. That's the volcano mountain, and wow, what a visualization you can see. Soon we're going to pass into the this second caldera. So wow, this the whole Canary Island of Tenerife, really beautiful. This is La Palma, by the way, also a very beautiful island, La Gomera, and then it would be like in this direction to Spain. So that's definitely pretty fancy. And then you can always go back to where you actually are with this hotkey. Then the phone integration in Apple CarPlay mode, like this, the integration. So it's also all the way over the screen. The sound system is, is actually amazing. So this is the B&O sound system, 23 speakers. I have set the 3D surround all the way, and it's such a crystal clear 3D surround sound. It's one of the best on the markets. It's wow. I could stay in here and listen to music all time. It's really amazing. Then let's go back to this, the main menu, and you go to left and right there. And then in this car menu, you have this special RS monitor, where you can also see the altitude at the moment, tire pressure loss indicated, temperatures, and G meters. Well, and then when we use the drive select, actually here, normal driving modes, but here you rather use the RS modes, and then you can preset them. And drive system, suspension, steering, you can set to different settings. And here at the moment I have set that the RS1 is a little bit more sound, but everything else a little bit more balanced. And in the RS2, actually even sportier, and then also the ESC will be drawn back and so on. And then you can also, activate it a little bit better while driving. So very interesting then in together, playing together with this RS mode at the steering wheel. Well, the lower screen usually stays for the temperature. So you can slide like this or click, or you can also, I think sometimes the engine needs to be on for that when you use the voice command.
If you wish to use the online
yes, sometimes have to activate it first. Yes. Okay, accept it. Let's try it again. Set temperature to 22 degrees.
I'll increase the temperature to 22 degrees.
So that's also possible, because using this while driving is sometimes a little bit complicated. So the voice input would be one possibility, definitely. Heated steering wheel is available here. That's pretty cool, for example. And sometimes there's also, playing together with those systems here. You can use the voice input. It's not a natural one. But however, here when you are in this GPS mode, destination, the lower screen jumps to the keyboard, or you can also write buttons in here, or maybe you can even, was it a pentagram even? Or you can like a Rona or something, you can type it in the area. Yeah, that was a little bit favored. You get the picture, and then again, voice control for that. Or it's not the natural voice input like with Mercedes or BMW, they're not quite there yet. It's already quite well usable. What a beautiful sunset here on Tenerife in the south of the island. You maybe know with the Canary Islands in the northeast, where the passat winds are getting caught, it's quite often rainy, cloudy, colder. And in the south of all those islands, it's always like dry, not always, but usually warm and dry and so on. That's why we're also in the south at the moment. So, and in the rear, I was a little bit stuck here. Why that was, well, don't know, it's like a little bit, as the door would be gluing a little bit to that. Strange. Then here on the inside, also again frameless. And you can see here those shades, they can be lowered electrically. Oh, very fancy. Also some fancy Alcantara on the insert here. And then you can see it doesn't have a big middle tunnel. Well, it's a high SUV, so you have a lot of space here on in the rear. And that's actually quite cool, because that proves again my point. It's a very sporty SUV, but still fully capable for everyday driving life. And if I test it right here, it's such an easy entry. I still have plenty of legroom left, and the seating position is also upright here. Still some headroom right there, and it's better than with one of the sport sedans, so it's just more comfortable here. And you can also vary this back part here, put it back or forth again. So you can find a very nice seating position. You can even put this bench forward for more trunk. And even in that way, I could still sit here and have more trunk. So you can vary that depending on your needs. And from here, I also have a good view to the windscreen. But of course also to our beautiful sunset for today. Look at that. It's almost gone right now. But of course, we are always filming for you. And in the middle console, you have those temperature gauges, if you like. It's an option, of course, heating, and in the lower part also 2 more USB supplies. And the armrest looks like this, also with some adaptive cup holders. So what about the trunk space? Here, of course, you can also see this, illumination right there, very beautiful in the evening sun. And the cover of the trunk is shut at the moment, and when I open the electric hatch, it automatically raises up, and when I close it again, it automatically closes. And I love that. That makes everyday trunk life so much easier. This is about 600 liters, up to 1,750 liters. When you push it all the way through, you have to flip the seats from the, from the rear compartment, not from the trunk. And then you can have this maximum loading space of almost 2 meters. The normal trunk length here, with the seats up, is about 1 meter. And then here also about a little bit more than 1 meter in width. And you are just somewhat limited here, but it's still okay. I mean, it's like 40 centimeters at the lowest point under the cover, and then here you even have about 80 centimeters. So I think you can still very well use the vehicle. The only thing, it's quite a pity here, just you can have no dimension rather. Again, I have to go around to flip the seats, then with the lever, where I also control the back part of the seat. So yeah, here, and then they are pushed right through, and that's the maximum setup then. Welcome to Thomas's Active Driving Lounge. I set to the RS Mode 2, and we are uphill here, but let's just accelerate a little bit to see and also hear the sound. This is Holger sounds like so yeah, that was like 94 kilometers an hour, or almost 60. Holger's still laughing. 60 miles an hour uphill. That was an uphill acceleration. Yeah, not sure when we experienced that one in an SUV. Well, it didn't feel so much SUV-alike. Pretty interesting. And we have dry road conditions here at the moment, so we can also go in the sportiest mode. I've set the RS modes in a way that the RS1 mode is like already a little bit sportier, and that the RS2 mode is then even sportier. And that's where we're in at the moment. So the stability control is also drawn back, but we still have an all-wheel drive. So we have a lot of traction when accelerating. And there's also still some, stability control left. But of course, there's no intention from us here to do some power drifts or whatever. That's also hardly possible with this car. It's also a very heavy car still. So we have to bear that in mind. Considering we have also the heavier engine in the front, do you feel that also? Well, the 6-cylinder does feel a little bit lighter to drive on the one hand, but then we have all the technology features built inside here, like the rear axle steering, which comes as standard. Then this rear differential lock, which is optional, and also the anti-tilt control. So you really feel that, especially here now in this sports mode, where the air suspension is also set on a stiffer tone. So now when there's some uneven bumps on the road and so on, you feel that a little bit more. But this car, and especially in the sport mode with the anti-tilt control, it doesn't lean at all to the sides. So it really feels like driving a low-seating sports car while we're passing Arona here now, by the way. Brian and Thomas B were here recently with the Seat Arona. So this one is the city here now where the Seat Arona got its name from, on Tenerife. Very interesting, right? So little Autogefühl car industry trivia here just on our way. It's just in a very little town, and the inhabitants here were actually really, really happy that they're world famous now because of a car name. Very interesting story. So back here to the car, and again, it's so good in the just, slalom-alike thing, and the steering also is so crisp and precise. Really love it. It's so progressive. I can keep my hands on the steering wheel all the time. Don't have to grab around. Here, every small command is being transported to the road. It's really a flawless steering experience, both for comfortable steering and actually for a very sporty steering. So that's really cool. Switching over here to the GPS now because of the turn left, but I also see it here in the display. There's also the head-up display, of course, where I have those special performance gauges here at the moment. I also see the coolant temperature, for example. So a lot of information you can get additionally here also with the RS models. And when I'm here now in this city part, for example, I can deactivate the RS mode at the steering wheel. It goes just back to the normal mode, and it's really helpful in this case because otherwise the driving modes you might remember are down there with the drive select. Yeah, and that has always been some kind of a hassle to switch it around while driving. So it's really easier to have the driving mode button here. That, for example, Porsche does it here with the, Mercedes or AMG recently with this turning knob here. So because you can easier access it at the steering wheel. And now in the normal driving mode, It's more comfortable again. The air suspension is also still comfortable. It is set on a stiffer tone, yes, than with the normal models. But yet again, it is somewhat softer than, you know, with the, like some super sports cars or so on. You can still live with that. You can still drive it in everyday driving life. Even though we have 23-inch wheels mounted here. Yes, if you go for smaller wheels, they will deliver you more comfort. So I would always advise you to go for that. So not for the maximum wheel size, but still, I think it's a good decision that this car is still capable of being a primary everyday driving life car. We have some sports cars, and I really think, you know, AMG, for example, I mean, if you like that, they go quite often no compromise. They make the suspensions really stiff. If you prefer that, you know, then just, you know, go for the AMG. But if you want more comfort, I think the sport models by Audi and BMW offer you more rest comfort, even in those very sporty models, than the Mercedes AMG does. But again, there's nothing where you can say that's good or bad. It's just a matter of preference. I can just present it to you, and then you can make up your own mind as for that. So now we are on our way up to the Teide mountain. So it's the highest mountain in Spain then, because it belongs to Spain here, even though it's in the middle of Atlantic, and rather, you know, it's close to Morocco. And we're going up there to have some more beautiful shots and so on. And of course, the road up here is also really cool. And of course, with this V8 power, 600 horsepower, at any time you can get that. However, if you're on the normal driving mode here, you hear not so much from the engine. Actually, it remains pretty silent. There's also this additional exhaust mode, which is already activated, for example, in my RS Mode 1. Putting that to that one here at the moment. Especially in the low speed areas where the rear axle steering is going across with the front wheels up to 5%, you really feel that the car is faking a shorter wheelbase and it feels more agile. That's really cool. It really feels amazing, and again, keeping it pretty upright and stiff, but without being too stiff. It's really a flawless driving experience, and although it's not a small vehicle, it feels smaller and more agile than it appears to be. So this RS Mode 1, set the exhaust node, and we already have some more dynamic features, and I just want to go in slalom here all the time. That's really cool. Some other colleagues filming here already with that car. And the thing is, even if we're going uphill, I mean, we can accelerate it out at any time, and the power is just there. Of course, it's always a little bit about shifting up or down, so we can go to the S shifting mode, and then in the S shifting mode, we're already a gear lower, and then we can, for example, when we exit out the corner here, we don't have to wait actually to, you know, for the car to shift down or something. What the hell? Also sound-wise, yeah, yeah, I just, you know, to mention it, I really love electric vehicles. I really love them. And of course, acceleration-wise, but wow, this was really interesting. I mean, we're going uphill. It's like, it feels like we're not going uphill at all. Oh, this was really tight, that corner. A little bit understeering. There you feel, of course, the weight of the car. But I mean, wow. And our luggage in the trunk always says, "Thank you, Thomas." What the hell? Gosh. Did someone still like, oh, I need Lamborghini Urus? You don't really need it. And I can also shift back myself using the shifting pedals here. I mean, I'm always going uphill here like we would be in a Mazda MX-5 or something. Olga, you still alive?
Yeah.
Holy moly. I'm not even sure if I should still keep on commenting or if I should just leave you guys like for a minute or something with that, with the sound and the beautiful landscape. So rear axle steering is helping me really a lot. That's really cool. And yeah, that power delivery is, wow, that's really amazing. The question is always, when can you actually really drive that? When do you have the situations like that? And of course, I mean, going uphill now and really using the power, the fuel economy is just astronomically. You can change the views here in the digital instruments. Here now, deactivate the RS mode, and that guy driving the forklifter. Oh, he's like, why don't you turn up the car? You know, yeah, because I'm driving slow in the city. He was like, why don't you show me the exhaust sound? Yeah, you should probably watch Autogefühl. Then you can hear it actually, because in the city I always keep it slow and calm, because that guy is maybe car enthusiast, but maybe some others are here not. And then it's like, crazy guy here testing his exhaust right here in my city. What the hell? So, but now I'm still searching for my consumption meter. Yeah, sometimes it's a little bit complicated in those digital systems here to find that everything. But you know, what I found earlier is like, even if you keep it really steady, at least 12 liters more kilometers, more like 12, between 12 and 15. And so you won't get any more than 20 mpg, be it US or UK mpg. Maybe UK mpg a little bit more than 20, but when you then use the performance just a little bit, yeah, then you rather go like less than 20 mpg. So you have to bear that in mind, that all definitely comes with a cost. And then from calm back to the RS mode again. Oh, the speed limit has changed here once more. Interesting conditions also against the sun and with the sun driving, and driving once more. S shifting mode. And then when I'm in the S shifting mode, I don't even need the manual pedals, because it's really like the drive is so effortless and the torque is always there. As for the torque, I really can compare it to an electric vehicle, because mostly only in the electric vehicles we have like this flawless torque run, you know, without you feel that like the power. Oh, maybe I overtake before the overtaking is forbidden, like here now. I know that always a lot of driving school teachers are watching car reviews, and then they're commenting like, you didn't drive properly at 23 point, what are they? Yeah, I mean, I really try to keep good compromise, because you cannot do it right for everyone, you know. I always, you know, there are always people that come, Thomas, you drive too fast. And I was like, Thomas, you drive like my old grandma, you know. So you never can make it right for everyone. I really try to keep it between, you know, the speed limits, or everything between the law and when I'm allowed to, then also accelerate it out a little bit, that we also have some excitement. But I mean, clearly we are not missing any excitement here today. So yeah, that was already something, you know. And I think that also speaks for the car in a way, especially when you're with changing the driving modes and so on. You can really have both. So sometimes vehicles have only the sportiness or only the comfort, but here you can almost drive it like a normal Q8 and enjoy this great comfort, upright seating position and so on, really cool. And when you need the power, or when you want to access the power, then you always can put in the RS mode and can hammer it all the way through. And yeah, that was really something. So if there would be Lamborghini badge right here on the steering wheel, everyone would believe that, you know, instantaneously. Of course, this is also a very, very expensive car. So like when you have a base Q8 with about 70k US dollars or euros, and this one here then almost double in the starting price, so like 130,000, and I have some overtaking here. It's just one person on the throttle and everything is like, and it's gone. And then with some extras and so on, like 150, you can even break 160k or something. So it will still be less expensive than the Lamborghini Urus, yes, but of course the pricing is still somewhat ridiculous. But they put the prices in a way because they don't want people, like more people to buy the car. The car only makes sense for most of the buyers when not so many people are actually able to buy the vehicle. I'm really also happy with the base Q8 is already driving in a very sporty way and is a lot of fun, like agile driving wise, you know. This one of course then with a sporty approach. As for the suspension, the big difference is of course the engine. So you maybe have the experience from like normal engine variants when going a little bit downhill, what we have here from the acceleration when we're going a little bit uphill. Remember, like all the time we've been doing this driving party now, we were going uphill. And you always have to keep that in mind because that's not going uphill. I mean, it's like going forward like a rocket. So yeah, that's definitely very interesting. So, wow, very cool and sporty ride, great sound performance as well. Awesome as for the steering experience. Definitely one of the best handling SUVs I have experienced so far. Nürburgring Nordschleife lap record like 7 minutes 45 or something, 42, 7 minutes 42, something it was. So
42, I think.
Yeah, so below 8 minutes. So fastest SUV at least in this segment. 305 kilometers an hour, top speed. That's like 200 something, 200 miles something. Don't know the exact calculation now. So, I mean, really crazy figures. Hardly anyone will ever use the true potential of this vehicle, other than the race driver on the Nürburgring Nordschleife. Yeah, I mean, of course, it will be more realistic than. And that's also my advice for you today, because most people watching this review will be interested here in this vehicle, have a little bit fun with our review, and then maybe end up buying a normal Q8, and that's totally fine. It will be more than enough. Your normal Q8 is already a lot of fun. Is a better compromise, of course, price performance wise, also sporty comfort wise. Performance, you will have more comfort with the normal Q8, and you can also tune into our 3-liter TFSI Audi Q8 review. I will also link that in the video description. So also happy then later to see you right there. Because that's definitely the Q8 version I would actually recommend. And yeah, I mean, it's always good to have different engine versions, then you know how is it a little bit different in the performance and so on. But most of the time, the manufacturers are doing those top sports model also like just for marketing approach, and then people will end up buying the normal version. But again, that's just fine, and you probably will be even happier with the normal version in most driving situations, unless you're on such a road you can accelerate and listen a little bit to the sound. Yeah, but maybe in future it will also be possible when we have some electric vehicles or something that we can put that sound in. I always wonder why no one has done that yet, like just for the interior sound. So, and now we'll have some more winding roads actually, and I will just close this driving part for you without any talk, just some driving, enjoying the landscape, some sound, some sporty riding. So, hope you enjoyed this driving part, and stay with me just a couple more minutes here for pure Autogefühl. And now to our conclusion for today, here still from above the clouds. Really beautiful to be here. Well, about the Audi Q8 in general, already as a base version, and I would recommend for the best price performance deal the 3-liter TFSI, it is a quite sporty SUV, but which is still combining comfort and sportiness, in a very nice way. And the Audi Q8 in general also, at least to me, is a little bit more beautiful than those very, very round shapes SUV coupes. But that's of course also a matter of preference. The RSQ8 adds of course more sporty details. Looks a little bit more aggressive, but not too much over the top, I think. Interior build quality is really great, as we know from Audi. Yes, but considering now 2019, or when you most watch this review will be 2020, yeah, it's really lacking a lot of animal skin alternatives. They have to be more sustainable on the interior. Can at least get some Alcantara, especially if you stay with the base seats, which will also be more comfortable. Touchscreen using concept, it's easy menu structure, but what's really helpful, that you can activate the driving modes here, with this mode button at the steering wheel. That was really helpful. Driving experience-wise, I mean, that was, really amazing. So much power, so effortless, and a really great sound. So even if you, think about some environmental aspects, yeah, that's really critical with this car, definitely. But when you then, get the petrol head on the other shoulder, yeah, that was a lot of fun, definitely. Still, you have to bear in mind that this is really very high in the fuel consumption. They try to do something, with the mild hybrid concept and also with the cylinder on demand, but it doesn't have such an effect. If you use it in normal driving situations, it will have better fuel economy than we're going uphill in the winding corners. But still, you'll be better off than with the 3-liter 6-cylinder, definitely, for the overall fuel economy. This one here, more a marketing car to show that's maximum possible, and that it has no reason to hide behind the Lamborghini Urus, in no way performance-wise, and also from the agile handling. And still, the RSQ8 was still suitable for everyday driving life. As for the comfort, not really suitable as for the consumption, but for the comfort, definitely yes. So, quite a flawless, sporty experience, although it is quite a big SUV. What's your take on that? Please join us in the comments section, and also tune into some other comparing reviews, different versions of the Q8, and also some of the competitors. See you there. And thank you so much for tuning in today again. Leave us a thumbs up and please subscribe if you haven't done so far. And thank you so much for all long-term subscribers.